we're not almost there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about the subject, is progressive overload killing your gains? Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right, this morning I made a long response to Greg Doucette's video on is progressive overload killing your gains. You can check that response out in the community tab on YouTube here on my community, or head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Now, the question is progressive overload killing your gains. I'm basically going to, cover some of the information I presented in the post. Progressive overload by itself, first off, progressive overload drives progress. Progressive overload, without progressive overload, there is no progress. Let's not make any mistake about it. You can't just continue to do what you're doing right now with weight and expect to build muscle. You can add volume, but it's limited. You can restrict time in between sets, but that's limited. You can add drop sets, but that's limited. All these things the body will acclimate to. And at some point, we revert back to the fact that you need to add weight to the bar. You need to push yourself. Now, progressive overload alone isn't enough. Progressive overload alone isn't enough. I know I just repeated myself, but I wanted to stress that. Progressive overload is like a highway. Without the highway, you can't really get from point A to point B. Progressive overload is like the superhighway. It's the way to get there. You can't get from point A to point B unless you have some sort of a magical snap your fingers Harry Potter maneuver where you can just transport yourself in time and space. So, progressive overload is like the highway. Now, there are many ways for people to screw up the journey. They can try to ride a tricycle across, from point A to point B. Think of it like a journey across the country or across America or Russia or Australia or wherever it is you live. There are many ways to get from point A to point B. You could ride a tricycle, do little circles, all kinds of crazy stuff. You could drive a car without tires backwards. You'd still be progressing, right? But it wouldn't be efficient. Now, progressive overload alone, it's the highway, but you need other things. And those things are the things I've talked about on this channel forever. And I've talked about them in my book, Massive Iron. You can check that out on my website, superlivingtoday.com. But progressive overload needs to be backed by how to do it properly, how to do it efficiently, how to maximize it to get the most out of it, to get the most muscle building out of it. It's not simply the only thing that matters. It's the highway. And once you get on the highway, that's what matters. How do you get from point A to point B efficiently? So again, my analogy, progressive overload is like the highway. You're on the highway. How do you get now from point A to point B efficiently? You do so by using a reasonable amount of volume, a good exercise selection, consistency in nutrition, consistency in training, patience, good exercise form, all the pillars of success I talk about. Controlling the weight, not just moving the weight through space, right? Not just doing reps for reps' sake, but having a focus on your reps. Having some reasonable control over the weight, not just throwing weight around in the gym. And also one of the big pillars is pushing a quality amount of sets per workout for maximum safe quality reps. So if you have all these pillars in place, it's like putting together a car, or putting together a car that's just built to go from point A to point B efficiently. You got good tires, you got a good engine, you got good steering, you got good handling. You're not burdened with too much weight. So saying progressive overload is killing your gains. Well, stuff like this is just simply confusing for the average lifter. It just adds confusion to their plate. Progressive overload is not the problem. The problem is when you don't have structure, right? When you don't have structure or you don't have information on how to actually work progressive overload to make it efficient and make it effective, to be able to go from point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So progressive overload, yes, it's required, but it requires information. It requires coaching. It requires focus. Progressive overload is like the highway, but what you do on the highway matters. You don't just go into the gym like, I'm going to mindlessly add 1 rep on every exercise and wake up. That's not how it works. If you don't, let's put it this way. If you don't do things with focus, if you're on that highway and you don't have a good car or you're spinning in circles, you're not going to get progression anyway. You're not going to build muscle anyway. So progressive overload is the highway, and you need all the pillars of success to take you from point A to point B efficiently. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.